Hello, everybody. Welcome to Travelers Podcast, episode number 20. My name is the Helmet Fire. Joining us this evening is CrayZJaye, Angel Zero, Contrabang, and our very special guest, Mr. Richard Sloniker. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Oh, it's gonna be a great night tonight. We got a very special guest, as I said, Mr. Richard Sloniker. For those that aren't in the know, he is a motion capture actor for Bungie and has done a lot of work, especially for characters like Cade 6 and many others. We're going to get into that in a minute. Mr. Richard, how are you doing tonight? Thanks so much for coming on.
Great. Oh, my pleasure. Great to chat with everyone.
So, like Helmet said, you do a lot of infusion of the characters, infuse them with life in terms of the body acting. But according to Reddit, Reddit users credit you for acting most of the characters on the game. Is that true?
I don't know about most of them, but let's see. I do the Guardian, Osiris, Lord Saladin.
Nice.
Cade 6. There's that robot in the hangar that kind of walks over to the ship with Eris Morn. I've done how to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think both Brandon and I played. I forget what Spider's two henchmen that stand to the side.
Oh, really?
We did a bit of that too, so that was kind of.
Well, so let's take it from the beginning then. If I read your background correctly, you have a bachelor's of science, molecular, cellular, and developmental biology.
That is correct.
How did you get into acting then?
I've always done acting ever since high school, and then when I went to college during my undergrad, I still did fringe theater on the side. And when it came time to decide on grad school, because I knew I wanted to go to a grad school, it was either be an MD or be an actor. And I figured if I was a doctor, I wouldn't have time to act ever. And I didn't think I could live a life like that. So I chose the poorer of the two professions. And I'm very, very happy with my decision still.
Well, there you go.
So you did something called
That's
the
awesome.
Guthrie experience, correct?
The Guthrie
experience.
Yeah,
Guthrie experience.
The Guthrie Theater is a regional theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I got to perform and train there for a summer. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So if anyone's in Minneapolis, you got to check out that theater.
Nice.
All right, and
my
the program.
My sister just moved up there. Sorry, I was just. You mentioned Minnesota. My sister just moved there, so
Go ahead.
Oh, Minneapolis.
yeah.
Yeah, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, just looking at your profile, you do have a lot of credits in your name that people do not know of, especially the Destiny community that associates you with game acting. But you also have commercials, you have a lot of product videos, you have a lot of theater performances to your name. One of the most recent that I was looking at was Oscar Wilde's comedy Lady Windermere's Fan. Can you give us a summary of your role in that play?
Lady Windermere's Fan. I played Lord Windermere, who is Lady Windermere, my wife. I just she thinks that I'm cheating on her, and I'm trying to kind of keep everything quelled and kosher. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of talented people, and it was a great comedy.
It ran until recently,
I'm gonna
correct?
have to check that out.
Yes, I think oh man, my memory is failing me. Yeah, it ran recently. I think right before the beginning of summer is when it closed. And currently, I'm just in the second week of rehearsals of Arms of the Man by George Bernard Shaw at Seattle Shakespeare Company, and that's going well.
So from theater to games, how did that bridge occur? How do you cross that gap?
It just comes with another audition. I have an agent here in Seattle, and you're out on auditions all the time, and one happened to be for this. They just said it was a video game with some sort of generic vanilla dialogue. We didn't know what it was, and I think they originally had me reading for The Crow at the time. I don't think I'm divulging anything mysterious. Everybody, like Prince Aldrin used to be called The Crow, right?
Right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I originally read for that role, and Bungie ended up calling me in to reading The Player. And so we switched, and that's how I met Brandon, was during the auditions. And it was like a series of auditions. I think there were 3 auditions. The first were outside of the studio, and the next 2 were in the studio. And that's when when you go into the studio, you're like, oh, this is what it is. This is these guys.
It's like a big surprise. That's pretty cool.
Right.
That must be really, it must be a really cool feeling. Like, yeah. So just for me, what was that experience like when you saw it was, Bungie Studios? I mean, were you aware at the time of who they were and what games they made, and that they were the original Halo creators and all that stuff?
Yeah, I've played video games ever since for a long time.
Gotcha.
Started with the Atari 2600.
So
yeah, I definitely knew who Halo was, and also being in the acting community, Jen Taylor, who plays Cortana, is also in the community. So we all know each other. I definitely I knew what Halo was, and so
nice.
Stepping into that studio, knowing it was Bungie, because they kept all that under wraps.
That must have been so cool.
Like, oh boy, I better not suck at this audition.
Well, I'm taking this job. I'm taking this offer if they give it. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. That's really cool.
That's badass. That's pretty cool.
But that wasn't your first video game motion capture that you ever did. Which was the first one?
That actually was the first motion capture I was in Nancy Drew, where I don't actually. They have some animators create those characters, but Bungie was Destiny was the first motion capture that I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. So
in total, how long have you been working with Bungie on the game?
I think I was hired. I want to say it was December of 2011, 2012.
Okay.
2011 and 12. It's been a while. So it's been a long time. And I remember it was the holidays because they had all their holiday ornaments out.
I think Brandon said like 2011, so that's probably 2011.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
around the same time.
Yeah.
nice.
That's pretty cool.
So motion capture. And we did talk about this a little bit last week, but we didn't go off into it too much. And you have done quite a lot of it. But for the actual process of motion capture, can you explain a little bit of how exactly that works with the suit and the cameras, and and is there any special movements you have to do outside of, like, for instance, if someone says he's doing this move, is there anything that has to be exaggerated as a mocap actor for the cameras to pick it up, or is it pretty fluid and natural, or how does it all work, technically, on the technical side of it?
It is fluid and natural. Is what the camera picks up. The camera picks up. You can't really sort of hide or act or pretend on top of it. So so the moves you do really have to come from an organic, honest place. Otherwise, it just looks weird. I'm sure we've all seen cutscenes that just kind of look weird. And a lot of those times, it's the animators kind of putting on the suit and kind of doing the acting for their work, and it doesn't just looks a little off. I think we can kind of tell when something isn't honest and something isn't true. So it's my job to take that text and work with the director to create an honest performance. So no, you don't have to do anything more exaggerated unless you're throwing your body across the volume, the motion capture volume, landing on pads. But it's just you do try to be honest and authentic.
So I just played while you were talking your video that's on your YouTube channel of you doing the motion captures for Destiny. It has a very funny hashtag. So Warlock Master Race. What's all that about?
Yeah, man. I'm a warlock. I made a warlock. I don't even know how it started. I think I played when I started Destiny. We kind of have a family thing. My wife wanted to be a warlock. I wanted to be a warlock, and we couldn't decide who was going to be the warlock. And so we both butted heads and were like, oh, fine, we'll just have two warlocks. And then my daughter, who no longer plays anymore, but she mained a Titan, which is pretty awesome. So we ended up having two warlocks and a Titan. And my wife still won't delete her character so I can create a hunter. I really want.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, you play Cade 6 so much, it's interesting that you really don't even have a hunter to play with.
I'm starting to like Aldrin more.
Which brings me to my next comment, because when you see yourself acting, it must bring you a sense of joy. But a couple of days ago, including last week while we were doing the interview with Brandon, you tweeted out or sent him a text message about something that happened on Jeopardy. What happened? How do you feel?
Oh, that was exciting. We have Jeopardy playing on the background. My wife watches it while I cook dinner or whatever, and it just happened to be the video game category, which no one got anything correct, and I was kind of annoyed at that. Like, how did you do that? And it ended up being like the $1,000 answer, and it just, I'm like, I wonder if it's gonna be Destiny, and sure enough, like Gaul pops up. I'm like, Destiny 2, and it was pretty exciting to see the work that we've done in a completely different arena now, and it really was rewarding, and the newer audience got to see a little bit of our work as well. So it's really cool.
That is cool.
So, out of all the scenes you've ever done with any character, what was your favorite to perform?
I would have to say probably the most fun was when Cade is stuck in the transmat, the portal.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just being in that harness, and
I was gonna say they put you in a harness for that one.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I think probably my favorite one was when Cade gets that device and he's like looking at it, gets his hand stuck in it, and he pulls a little piece out and tosses it over his shoulder.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those bits weren't in the script, and so I just really appreciate the director just saying, all right, let's do one for fun, and so you just kind of throw these little comedic bits in, and they stick, and I think a lot of those little moments really sort of give Cade a few more hues, and I love that. I was
gonna say that must be really rewarding to put your own little personal, small, teeny tiny touches here and there, and then they stick, and it really just enhances the personality of the character. That's really cool.
Right. That, especially when that thumbs up happened, that was not in the script. It's just I kind of threw out in one take. I was like, "Hey, you did a good job," and they're like, they all laughed, and I really thought like that was going to get cut because it was not. They were really wanting to stick to the script, and ended up being in it, and I was really proud of that one.
When I read about motion capture, I think that there's a lot of it that goes unpublished. So it leads me to my next question. You said you were hanging in there with Destiny, and while you were talking, I played the clip because you already have that on your YouTube as well. So thank you. So what was the most challenging take that you've ever done, and which was the most embarrassing?
The most challenging one definitely is the Gaul command ship, just getting beat up by Gaul, because it was a lot of me throwing myself across the motion capture volume, and the space you perform in with all the cameras is they call that the volume. So it was really a half a day of me just throwing myself, spinning, flipping, landing, and that was probably the most physically demanding day. I was pretty sore the next day, but it's definitely worthwhile.
So for that, you don't use any ropes or anything? It's just completely you?
Yeah, it's completely me. I just get a little running start, just throw myself in the air.
I've seen that video, and that's very impressive.
Thank you.
Something I could never do.
What was the most embarrassing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a nitpicker at my acting and my performance, and it's really silly. I mean, because the scene obviously turned out great. The animators are fucking fantastic. It was just like, it was at the end of Destiny 1 where your character is in the hangar talking to the stranger, and she gives you the stranger's rifle, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's this one, it's the character, it's a wider shot, and the character like does this pivot and turn and walks away, and that, to this day, that just seemed like a really awkward turn to me. And then it's just me picking up, I was like, what? Who turns like that? Like, yeah, so that was probably the most embarrassing thing that I feel like I've done.
It reminded me of Dark Helmet in Spaceballs, Fast forward and never play this again!
Yeah. I played the game too, and I frequently like skip those scenes as well.
What system do you play on mostly?
PS4. I started
nice.
I started on Xbox One, but I just get too busy, and I don't have time to go back through the campaign. But PS4.
It's a pain in the butt, I'll tell you
Now,
that.
I know the developers probably takes them a little bit longer to get a chance to play on their own personal accounts, but like, is that the same for guys such as yourself with the work that you do? Do you find that you're so busy working up there and doing motion capture that when you finally do get a chance to play, you're a little bit behind the general populace, or do you get to play pretty regularly?
Oh man, I when I can play, I play. I think I was 500 like the first day before second drop. I just played it. So I feel like I'm a little ahead of the curve when I have the time, because I'll dump some hours.
What's your KD then? What's your KD?
I was gonna ask light level, but okay.
I am like Crucible. I am solidly mediocre. I'm solidly mediocre. I don't drag the team. I could finish like top 2, but solidly mediocre. I'm not saying I've got the greatest skills, but I can hold my own.
I can see that from a warlock.
Oh, that's dirty, man. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Melee.
Okay.
To be honest, I played all 3 classes, so no, I'm just kidding.
I have one of each, but I'm a warlock main, so I'm with you.
Well,
Nice.
I'll see you
I'm
guys
with you.
later. I'm off the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Bye.
I'm on the main.
Yeah, Jay and Angel are hunter mains, so
Are you-
it's okay.
Nice. I'm
okay.
a little jealous of shade stepping. I really
It's
wish I
legit,
could
man.
afford that.
Chase the fuck.
Helps to get you out. So, are you raid ready? Have you done the new raid?
I haven't. So I think I stopped playing about I think I'm 528 right now, because I started this new show with Seattle Shakespeare Company, and I typically have to stop everything until I can get all my lines memorized. Otherwise,
Oh yeah,
I'll just be really behind. But
it's like
I'm really close. I'm a few days away, and I'll be back. My brother is already raid ready, so he'll have to Sherpa me through the raid.
It's definitely
Nice.
fun.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get. I mean, I'm at about 560, and I'm really waiting until I'm like 570, man, because that raid is pretty brutal. It's the real deal. They did such a great job this time around. I'm really happy with it, and I can't wait to really dig in with some friends and
Same.
really get in there. Yeah, so that's. So you said your son is gonna kind of spearhead helping you get through it.
Oh, my brother.
Oh, your brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
So, kind of leads me into my next question, which is, apart from the main characters in the game, did you do any of the NPCs or any of the enemies that we face? Is there any capture on that?
The 2 NPCs, the 2 that I mentioned, I'm a hangar robot in D1, and D2 was one of Spider's henchmen. I forgot what they're
Right.
called. But, those
I forget-
guys.
Yeah, I don't remember what they're called either.
Yeah,
They got the spike. They look like
Right.
porcupines. Yeah.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of standing around, with your
Yeah.
holding
Movie.
spears.
How about any of the emotes? Any of those you? Do you dance?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us which ones you did.
know,
Any of the dancing ones?
No.
Now look, Richard, you can tell us if you did the Britney Spears dance. It's okay. Like I would totally. No one's gonna judge you.
No, nobody.
I-
Nobody will find out after we retweet it.
Or the high
Put it on
school
YouTube.
musical one.
that I did that I really enjoyed was the fishing one. That's actually
Oh, nice.
How was you? Nice.
Yeah.
I like how it pops up with a different thing sometimes. Like
Right.
Cal's head.
Cow's head,
Yeah.
a boot, a fish.
Yeah.
So now with the emotes, as far as those are concerned, with the motion capture, like, I mean, is it just a wide array of folks that they bring in for those, or is it a small group of people that do them, or?
It's a couple different things. With the dancing, I know they hire outside dancers to come in and
Okay, that makes
choreographers
sense.
to do
Yeah.
them.
Right.
A lot of
Someone
the sort
did
of pedestrian ones, I just hope I don't get in trouble saying this, but I don't think I'm ruining anything. A lot of the animators will come in and just do them since they're familiar with the mocap.
Right. I know they did an exotic one for Dave Samuel recently that made it into the game, and he's one of the visual effects artists there. He's the guy. It's the green one with the glasses, and he makes all the sound effects. And I saw a video that Bungie posted with him doing that, and that was really like a fan service tribute thing to Dave Samuel. But I've seen, that's why I was asking if it was like a wide array of people that work there that do it, or if it's just kind of situational, I guess, right?
I'm going to assume it's situational because a lot of those motion capture sessions, I'm not part of. It's only when I'm there, I'm like, hey, can you do a few things for us? I'm like, yeah.
So they just kind of call you up and when are you available?
Sure, I'm still
well,
here on the
they try to
clock.
condense things. Yeah, they try to condense things. They're like, yeah, okay, you guys are capturing something today. Yeah, let's bring that team down and let's do a list of emotes.
Nice.
So now there's no copyright on emotes, and recently emotes have been on the news because most games are introducing emotes as a way to monetize games. You know, if they turn out good or not, but a lot of them are produced by struggling artists or new and upcoming artists who make a video and go viral on YouTube, for example. And the basic conversation here is they don't want to get paid; they just want to get recognized. Hey, I put a lot of effort in developing this dance, and now it's in a game. At least credit it to me. I just want to know what your personal feeling is on comments like that.
If individual folks say it's cool, I guess that's up to the individual. The individual, they're fine with someone monetizing something that they created. That's on them. But did you have a follow-up question?
No, yes. So the feeling is, just to clarify, the feeling is they're artists and they're creating this dance and it gets popularized. And now a company like Fortnite or Bungie, sorry, Epic Games or Bungie are making money out of the dance they posted on the internet. So should they get some sort of credit? I mean, a dance routine you can copyright, but you can't copyright a move. So as an artist, how do you feel about ownership of material?
I'm personally protective of my work, and I know I'm a union actor with a Screen Actors Guild. Most AAA games, they hire union actors as well. So we're fortunate that all of our work is protected. So I do know that there are a lot of non-union actors who are willing to work and are fine with it. It's just where I am at as an actor is I do have to protect my work.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how SAG and all that works for an actor such as yourself.
Here's a good example. I can't remember the company that's just mentioned in one of SAG's releases. Apparently, this company has hired actors, and they sort of don't pay them too much. And one actor was even had to act with a live bear, which I could imagine as being very dangerous. And so
you said a bear?
Yes,
a bear.
A bear. Wow.
Yeah, and so
Well,
so being part of the union, you just don't really have to worry about being taken advantage of in that way.
I mean, their fear would be genuine, I'm sure.
Right.
Oh my God.
No acting there. All right,
So
so I can see
you
that
wouldn't
happen.
have to worry, and you wouldn't have to worry about working long days, screaming into a microphone without any sort of break or anything like that, and make sure that your healthcare is taken care of. If anything should happen on set, that you're taken care of. So there's the SAG union is really good at protecting the actor, and so you don't have to worry about anything as far as pay or being injured. You can just show up to work and just do your work, and I think that's great
really
for
cool.
everyone. Yeah.
So-
No, that's great.
So I guess the short version is if you have SAG, you don't get to fight bears, and if you ever do, you're covered in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, don't worry, it's just for a quick scene. It's all going to be over in 2 swipes, right? Bad joke, I'm sorry.
Oh man. Speaking of acting, the trailer. You did the not the motion capture. You actually got into the K6 costume, if I'm correct.
Right. I actually need to
Whoa,
clarify. Right. No. I didn't get into a K6 costume. I cut you off. You're talking about the trailer, right?
Yes. The puppies trailer.
Right. That is actually, I think, was handled by Blur. So that I did not do.
Oh, okay.
And there was one other cutscene that's in D2 that was handled by a stuntman in Los Angeles, also done by Blur, and that was the big fight scene, the sort of John Wick-esque fight scene. So that was done by a stuntman in Hollywood.
Right, and I was actually going to ask about that. So when it comes to Blur, which, for the listeners out there listening to the show, Blur is an amazing studio that does trailers for a lot of games, if I'm not mistaken. They do some of the best work that's in the business, in my opinion. But it's different in how, I guess there are different things and limitations that I'm sure, the motion capture, place at Bungie can do versus what they do. And so what's the difference there? How would you describe the difference in, when they would call them versus take care of it in-house?
I wish I knew the decision making on that, but I don't. I know what I imagine is a lot of it is workload. Like I know Destiny 2 had more cinematics than any of the previous games, so I imagine part of it is workload, deadline.
Do you know is there a? I'm trying to think of how to ask that. Do you know what the actual Do you know if Blur uses a combination of motion capture and CG, or is it? Do you have any idea how that works?
Unfortunately, I don't.
Okay, right. You don't work for Blur, so I just thought it was interesting, the difference, and because I know that it probably has some sort of motion capture involved, but and I didn't know if you had any involvement in that, so I was just curious.
I didn't. I do know motion capture was involved in that fight scene because our cinematic director, Matt Ward, Townsend guy, I think he was an advisor on that. I know he was there. Someone else directed that scene, but I know he was there to sort of give thoughts and opinions.
Right. I think the director was Jordan Roberts, who did the Kong Skull Island movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and the story behind that is they met with the Activision CEO and. Yeah, they basically, long story short, they hired the guy to actually do it because he actually plays the video game.
Awesome.
So, voice actors, and it's something that we were talking about last week. Voice actors, one of the recommendations for in the beginning is, you have to record your voice a lot so that you are aware of what you do. Listen to your voice, or your pitch, the way that how fast you talk, your gaps and even your ums and oohs and pauses. For a motion capture actor, I don't see any mirrors back there in your house, but do you have mirrors?
No. What would the mirrors be for?
I don't know. For you to see yourself, do you record yourself and practice at home?
No, I don't. I personally don't like doing that. No, I don't like looking at myself. It's hard enough to watch your own performance, right? But with doing the Destiny 2 scenes, which is unique about it, is since I do other characters like Osiris or Lord Saladin, I have to perform to someone else's voice performance, and Nathan Fillion, and that's a unique thing and unique skill that I'm working on while I'm working at Bungie is. Because we don't have a lot of time to work with the actual VO. So we'll maybe get the scripts a day or two ahead, and so you have to quickly memorize. And on day of capture, it's like right before you actually lay down the track you're going to record, you get maybe 15 minutes to actually listen to it and then sync what you have memorized with their actual cadence, with their ums and It's a really unique process and something I think I'm getting better at. I can just do it a little more quickly, especially So with like Cade's death scene as he's crawling along the floor and he's being stalked by Uldren, there's a lot of like breathing, a lot of and so like he's got 4 coughs there, he's got a deep breath there, and it really was trying to memorize all of this with the text and with emotion. It's a little daunting, but that scene turned out so well. I'm just like I got
no, it really did.
Bad memories.
It really did.
Bad memories.
It really yeah.
Too soon.
Was that you doing the rodeo scene where he's dropping down? Dropping down in Forsaken in the beginning, where he's
where he's like riding down the thing.
Yeah.
That was me. That was a fun.
There you go.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe you tweeted it was the best day at work or something like that.
That was one of the good days at work.
Yeah.
because you're just in this, in the motion capture volume, a flat stage, and like, okay, this is what's happening. Like you're coming down the stage, you've got this rope, and so you have to like make all this stuff up in your brain, using your imagination to create that, and it was
a really epic
fun.
scene, man. It really.
Natural reaction. What the?
Yeah, that was perfect, and you can like see it in her mouth animation too. Like, what what is this crazy guy? This crazy asshole doing? Kate is awesome like that, man.
So performance-wise, in terms of recognition, what do you think the industry is missing for folks like you who do the motion capture?
It's really hard for me to say industry-wide what is missing, but what I have come across, and this is from personal experience, that if you're not the voiceover talent, like if I'm not Nathan Fillion, if I'm just doing motion capture, that is not as valuable as the voice actor. I've come across that quite a few times, a couple times this year, where someone wants me to come in and do the motion capture for the video game, and they say like, oh, it's just motion capture, it's just this walking across and then sitting down. I'm like, it's not that. They're like, well, because we've got the voiceover talent doing this, and they want to they just don't value your work as much as the VO actor, because you're not a bigger name or you're not in Hollywood. They just assume you're this motion capture actor in Seattle, that's Siberia to some people, and and you just feel that work isn't as valued, and so that's what I hope changes. Value your motion capture actors, because it really does take a team of people to make these cinematics come alive, and it's not just one thing. It's voiceover actor, it's the writers, the director, it's the animators that like clean up your performance. It really is a massive team.
Well, there's a little bit of a mindset against video games. For what you have is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. They consider motion capture as sort of a technical stunt type of work. You don't really need the credit because you have the bigger name actors. But you have, for example, the Screen Actors Guild, SAG, which is lobbying for the video game companies to sort of divide the recognition. The Game Awards last year, they had the best performance. And what constitutes best performance is really voice and motion capture. So, and the ones that you see winning are the actors that do the voices. I'm on board with you on that, because I believe that an actor can go in and do a voice, but it is people like you who give it that extra feeling, who bring that character to life. You can voice CrayZJaye and all you want, but if you don't have that acting and that movement and those micro movements of the body, which is what you bring into the table, then you can't relate to the character, and that's where I believe that you come in strong.
Agreed. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It is a team effort too. It's like, there's so many talented people that work there and at many game studios, and I agree completely. It's you are just. It literally, you take away one, the whole project is not. It just falls apart. So I agree. I think that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Do we have? How are we on time for Mr. Richard here? Because we do have a couple community questions we want to ask for you. Okay. So since you've been working with doing the motion capture for Destiny since the beginning, more or less, and we all know, and we talked about this a little bit last week with Brandon, but we all know that the game had a real big transition in what the story was gonna be, and there was a lot of cuts and a lot of changes. Were there any characters or performances that you did that didn't make the final cut for the D1 launch? And I'm assuming the answer is yes, but can you elaborate on that? Are you allowed to talk about any of that?
Unfortunately, I can't talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Totally understand. We just wanted to see. And then I think, guys, help me out. There was at least one or two other questions, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
probably the same guidelines. In the old Vidok of Destiny reveal, we see a character in the lighthouse. It was rumored to be Osiris, but looks nothing like Osiris we all know from Destiny 2. Was that the original Osiris?
Yeah.
I think that was the original Cyrus, and I actually can say this because his name appears in the credit. A local actor by the name of R. Wright Hamilton, he goes by Bob Wright, was the original Cyrus voice, and his name does appear in the credit. So I can, there was
Oh,
a
cool.
different Cyrus.
Yeah, they D1 did have one clip of just a voice clip, and it said the Warlock Osiris or something.
Yeah.
And it was only in one mission. You know, it was very small. And then there was some footage really quickly that was seen, as Jay alluded to. And okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, because the community, we don't know the ins and outs and how it all went down and why it all went down, and really it's old news at this point. But we do know that it was a very huge transition and lots of moving parts. So I'm sure there's no telling, honestly, how much you guys probably did. And it is what it is, right? That's just the business. So we're happy that you're still in the game and still hopefully going to be for years to come, because it's a pretty long franchise looking to be. So Forsaken was knocked it out of the park. I think we all agreed the performances that yourself and Mr. Brandon have put on, and all the rest of the folks have just it's been great. It's really great to see it and get to talk with you guys and gentlemen such as yourself, and kind of get that inside look into what it actually is that brings the character to life. So it's really, really cool.
So one last question before we open the floor to you. So the question is, what is the biggest challenge about taking so many multiple roles in the game?
The biggest challenge, I actually just think the biggest challenge is the quick turnaround of memorization for when you have a previous existing VO. That's probably the biggest challenge. Yeah, there's nothing quite like that going in. You have to memorize like 3 pages and like perform it exactly the way that performer did.
Wow. Is it difficult to do you find yourself often where you'll memorize the lines, and then once you hear the voiceover, you're like, oh man, I have all these changes and little nuances I got to make? Is that like pretty much every time, or just sometimes, or not really?
I do a pretty good job at when I do memorize. I try to memorize it kind of neutral so that I can play jazz with it once I get a VO.
Nice.
So you mean like winking, and then finding out that they keep the winks?
Right. Because I had forgot about that until I saw that GIF of Cade doing the wink. I'm like, that's right. I'm glad they kept it.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. There's a lot of community artists. If you haven't checked out the creations page lately, Cade is one of the most popular portraits you'll see any artist make these days, and there's all kinds of cool stuff. So treat yourself, sir, if you haven't checked it out.
I sure will.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Sloniker, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know you gotta get to doing what you gotta do. Great performance.
Man's gotta eat.
Yeah, seriously.
Long day of rehearsals.
Great job on the game, man. I really hope to see you do more work, and you're always welcome here with us anytime you want, sir. So we really appreciate you.
So I'm not gonna ask you if your contract is ongoing, because I know there's probably a secret for Destiny 3 or whatever. But before concluding the interview, is there anything you would like to tell the community before you go?
I've just enjoyed being not only a performer in the game, but also a player in the game as well. So I just enjoy playing with everyone on strikes and just meeting up random people on raids. It's just been a blast, and I just feel really honored to be part of it.
Do you tell people
masterclass?
do you tell people on raid when you join them on parties that you're the actor, or you just keep it quiet?
No, I keep that quiet because oftentimes I suck, right? And then I don't want to get clowned twice.
And maybe if your KD was anything like your mocap performance, you'd be worse. Well, we all know there's some salt in the community, so yeah, you're fair for dodging that.
All right, sir.
All right, it was a
Um,
pleasure meeting everyone, and we'll see you around the tower.
All right,
Absolutely.
we'll tweet you
Is
the
there
episode, and yeah, that way you can rewatch it at your leisure.
Fantastic.
I was going to say, as real quick, is there a place people can find you that you'd like to let them know about?
I'm trying to be a little more active on Twitter. It's just been hard while I'm in rehearsal. I'm very active on Instagram with my dog that you probably just saw.
There you
Ball
go,
of
folks.
Mochi.
Y'all heard it here
Um,
first.
What's your Instagram?
Ball of Mochi.
There you go.
Yeah.
All of Mochi.
We'll put that in the chat. And once again, sir, thank you so much. We appreciate you,
pleasure.
man. Good.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
All
you.
right,
care,
thank you for the
everyone.
interview. Good night.
All right.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good one.
Bye.
All right, chat. Jay, if you want to cancel that.
Yeah, I got you.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah,
The show is not over. For those in chat hanging out, the show is not over. We do have a good list of topics to catch up on from last week and this week. So let's get that going here. Where's this list at?
We're going to be a little bit less formal right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right,
This is,
so the new Dreaming City dungeon.
Ooh,
Right,
Go for it.
right.
that was awesome. I loved it.
I tried. I got my
I haven't attempted it yet.
I got my PP smacked. So
Oh man,
I didn't do so well in the dungeon. I wasn't leveled for that.
oh man. So funny story is, I'm playing I'm playing Reddit. I think it was Crucible, and then one of my friends like, "Hey, can you help me out with this mission?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I don't know what he's talking about. So I hop in. I'm like, "What the hell is this? And why are we here? You are 540 light. What are you doing?"
Yeah. Dude,
So, yeah, we gotta pass
it's a higher light scaling than the raid is. It's actually like a step above the highest scale. I think the raid
Well-
scales up to 580 and the dungeon goes to 590.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
I'm not
it-
even like
very-
540 yet, I think. So I can
Very,
attempt it.
very early on, you get smacked with like 570, 590 enemies. Like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I like about it though, man? This is an amazing this is on top of what Forsaken's already brought. This was another great move in the direction that this kind of a game needs to be going. And what I'm getting
Yes.
at is the dungeon is a new activity. And it is it's basically a 3-man raid is what it is.
Mhm.
It's definitely scaled down from what a raid is, but the mechanics are raid-esque. The size and scope is like a raid, but it accommodates a 3-man fire team. And it's currently with the Dreaming City on a 3-week rotation. So it just reset. So we're back to the week 1 of the curse on the Dreaming City. So it is a time-gated thing. However,
Mhm.
I think with the progression system and the way it is right now, although it's not perfect, it actually, I think it works, because like, for instance, I wasn't high enough light yet to really tackle it, but in 3 weeks I will be,
Yep.
so that's okay. I'm okay with that. Wish Ender is tied to that dungeon, and I'm not upset that I didn't get it. I'll be happy to earn it in a few weeks, so what do you guys think?
It's beneficial to the player, and also on top of its grand scale of mechanics and stuff like that, it feels like a raid in the lore sense too. It ties in as to why the Dreaming City resets after this week.
We won't spoil it here because the lore, actually the last lore book, I don't think's actually even been unlocked. I know Bike was talking about it, but but the information's out there if you want to read up on it and kind of understand why everything's happening. Why is it on a 3-week reset? It explains all of it in detail, and it is fascinating. So it's out there if you want. It's a good read if you decide to. But yeah, the lore is just wow, man. I can't believe the job they're doing on this expansion with the lore. Like, holy moly.
We're screwed. That's a hint right there. We're just screwed.
Well, it's funny. We're always screwed, right?
Yeah.
Oryx is coming. Yeah, and then, as big as Oryx was, it's like, here's the Guardian, right? And then, I'm Oryx like
Well, you know
Like-
what Oryx's problem was? His worm.
face.
Yeah, that too. His worm was like somehow his worm was feeding on his navigation skills and stuff like that. So that and then he was very arrogant as well.
yeah.
But our next upcoming enemy, whoever that is,
What Savathun is orchestrating,
Yeah.
and the way she's orchestrated it is mind blowing.
yeah,
I mean-
Savathun Savathun is a lot more, I think, strategical than Oryx.
So I was predicting this when Forsaken was announced, but I think so. We have Forsaken now. We have the Black Armory DLC coming up, and then basically we have 3 more drops, smaller scale until summer of 2019. I think I'm predicting that in fall, so it's September next year, we're gonna get whatever the Dreadnought DLC is going to be, probably Savathun. I'm assuming, and then I think we're going to get another annual pass after that to bring us all the way to summer of 2020, and then September 2020 D3 is coming out. I'm calling it now. So that's
September 2020, 2 years from now.
I think that's when we're going to get it.
You think Bungie has enough content to last for 2 more years for this game?
I mean,
Dude,
they did it.
If it's this caliber,
Yeah.
yes. Especially if they bring back Elimination and some other competitive modes that revitalize Crucible, yes, I absolutely believe that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So the Dreaming City, I kind of derailed. So let's get back to the Dreaming City because there's absolutely plenty of stuff going on. So
can I say one more thing real quick?
Yeah, please.
Amithi just has been confirmed the last one will come back in Black Armory. No, but yes. There was
it's a rumor. I don't think it's actually confirmed yet.
In the API, somewhere in the API or somewhere in the data, they found, what was that last word perk, fan something?
I forget, man.
The one where we fire automatic, it's like, it's
from
actually,
the hip, yeah.
From the hip.
I know what you're talking about.
They found that in the data. Whether it's Black Armory or my prediction is Joker's Wild, just because the lore makes sense.
Yeah.
Probably then, but we don't know.
Dude, what if it was like Shin Malphur? He comes to off the Drifter,
and
then we kill the Drift, and then we kill Shin Malphur and get the last word. Does that happen?
Oh no, I like Shin Malphur. No, I don't like him.
Well, he ain't gonna like us for being in cahoots with the Drifter. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It's gonna be drama season over in Destiny come summer or springtime. I think springtime.
Yeah, I think it's spring for Joker's Wild.
The imminent possible return. Well, it's not possible. It's coming. Thunderlord. Heavy machine guns are coming back with the Black Armory DLC. But the rumor floating around right now is that Thunderlord may be coming as early as Festival of the Lost. So we don't know. I don't have any confirmation of that, but it's on Reddit, and the source that posted it has been right about certain things in the past. So that would be cool, man. I love me some Thunderlord.
That was awesome. Yeah. Sorry to derail you again. What were we talking about?
We're so derailed. I actually like being derailed sometimes. What about Contra? What about you? Where's your character at? What you been grinding? What's good on the Destiny front for you, sir?
Pass.
Pass.
See, for me, I've always told you guys, and I've said it multiple times on the stream here. It's a time constraint. So when I only have 2 hours to dedicate to a game in a single week, I'm gonna go to the Crucible because that's where that, right? So Gambit has been a big thing for me because the Malfeasance bounty was dropping, and everybody on YouTube and their grandmas was trying to get it. So I said, okay, I'll play
the meatball.
Gambit. Yeah, I'll try to get the meatball servitor out and kick his ball.
I love that everyone calls him a meatball or a butthole.
Meatball.
Yeah.
I haven't heard butthole before. Oh my god.
There was a couple people, but it's pretty much widely known as the meatball. So then speaking of the meatball, the spawn race, it's funny, everyone's like playing 1,000 hours before it shows up, and then Bungie said the spawn rate of the meatball, aka the Malfeasance boss in Gambit, it's RNG based solely. There's not they did confirm on social media that there is no special way to make them appear, and the RNG is even less in the first and second week of the curse, as it progresses. So the third week, when it's at its worst, is when the spawn rates are the best. So that's scary to me because if people are playing like 100 hours before it shows up in the best chances that it has, like, dude, there's going to be people no liking to find the freaking meatball.
I haven't even tried. I haven't even tried, dude, honestly, because it's just the gun itself looks awesome, but
no, it needs a buff. Actually, you know what? And I'm glad somebody did this. There was somebody on social media that posted a video comparison of the Vidoc when they first showed it off to a clip of it being used now. And I was just looking at this same thing and made a same post like a couple few days ago. And basically, when they announced it in that weapon, that exotics Vidoc before the game came out, you hit 5 slugs and it creates this huge explosion, this huge taken explosion. You can go look at the Vidoc right now, man, and it looks sick. And then whatever they did, they must have made some dev change, some decision, something changed, because the gun we have now does not do that. Instead, it makes these little firework like Black Cat pop. You know, they pop. You know, and it's just not the same. And I was personally really let down by that. But aside from that, the gun doesn't perform poorly. It just doesn't perform enough to make you want to choose it over other weapons. At least a good handful of them.
You have the Ace of Spades, awesome exotic. If you want an exotic for a primary, you have Ace of Spades. But if you want a good hand cannon for PvE, you have the Midnight Coup is still really good, and then you have the new Ray hand cannon, Fatebringer 2.0. If you get it,
yeah, dude, I want that one really bad.
So good. I think it's the best PvE hand cannon. So there's no point in having an exotic primary when you have those two hand cannons there.
Well, even in the realm of just weapons and or hand cannons in general, the malfeasance is, average at best. And then you got to consider the fact that it takes up an exotic slot. Especially in Gambit, it does more Gambit damage in Gambit all the way around, right? But I'm not using that over Sleeper in this sandbox. Like, are you kidding me?
It does more damage to Taken, which is cool, but most of your enemies aren't really taken. I mean, until you get to the Primeval, and when you get to Primeval, guess what? You're using Sleeper, you're using Tractor Cannon to boop them.
I know. I don't want them to make it into Thorn when it was at its worst. I really don't want that. But at the same time,
define worse.
At its worst, when Thorn was like just like Sleeper is now. Everyone was using it. It was OP.
I love that Thorn. The Thorn.
I mean, I liked it too, but like, as long as that's become the only option. Yeah.
No, it was like 2-tap, right? The 2-tap headshot.
All I'm saying with Malfeasance is buff the gun, so it's something that makes me comfortable using the exotic slot, and then give me that visual effect back that you showed me. Like that's what sells it for me. I like the visual effect. That explosion was freaking as big as a scream, like.
Oh, a scream.
And it doesn't do that.
You just don't give up on those
It got screamed, yeah. I mean, maybe if I had the Malfeasance do that, I could line up screams for a change,
So on the topic of Gambit, how do we feel about Sleeper in Gambit?
I can't wait for them to adjust the aim assist, which is what they're working on right now. I cannot wait to see, and hopefully it helps.
See, it's a slippery slope with that situation, because like if you nerf that, if you nerf the gun for Gambit, you're nerfing it for PvE in general. So like it's a slippery slope where you gotta do like a dance, and you gotta nerf it here, but not nerf it in PvE, and that's how we get like Destiny 2 vanilla, where it's just like, I'm using primaries most of the time now for my bosses.
I think, when it comes to a heavy weapon, especially an exotic, Sleeper really needs to, like, I use Sleeper. I use it. I use it in Gambit, but I really want to use other things. I definitely think that even in PvE, I'm not asking for them to nerf the damage, because it wrecks, and you can plan awesome things and strikes and raids with it. It's a very versatile weapon, but if I like the idea with the aim assist, and I kind of want to see how that translates real world time with what they do with it, because even in PvE, like I kind of feel like it is a little bit of a crutch in some cases. Like, I'm okay with it doing the damage it does, but I don't know. There's just something about it that I feel like it definitely needs an adjustment. And it wouldn't hurt my feelings if it affected PvE a little bit, as long as it wasn't. Just don't nerf the damage. You want to make it harder to aim. I'm cool with that. Man,
if you think Sleeper is bad, wait till you use 1,000 voices.
So for Gambit wise, I think they need to reduce the range, because you can snipe cross map with that thing
and kill them out of their super.
Yeah.
And it's a little nuts.
I agree. Do something with the aim assist, because the
hitbox is huge. I shoot
bad,
it from the hip.
but it's bad.
I shoot it from the hip now all the time.
You can shoot someone's pinky toe and they're done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, your kneecap is gone.
And to quote Daquan, give me them toes, boy.
I'm a fan
Yeah,
of leaving it as it
yeah.
is. I'm a fan of leaving the sleeper simulant alone. I mean, if you need it, if you want to go get it, fine, grind for it. I just met someone today who said, you know, they're grinding for it because they don't have it and they're tired of getting killed by it. So fine, go get it. You know, not everybody.
The thing is,
exactly. Go get it. And you know what? Even outside of Gambit, it's worth getting. In PvE, it's amazing. You know, I can melt yellow bars and actually, you know, take care of business. You know, like.
The thing is that the problem with leaving it as it is, I think Helmut touched on it a little bit. It then becomes the normal, the universal. You have to have the sleeper now. You have to have it in game to win. And Bungie doesn't want you to do that. Bungie wants you to use different guns. Bungie wants a diverse, you know, pool of people using different guns, and that's the issue where everybody is using sleeper. I'm not using sleeper, but everybody else is.
Here's the problem with you. Sorry to cut you off, but here's the problem with using other guns. Like I tried using, per se, curtain call, in Gambit, and I did nothing to the boss, like at all.
Which one's curtain call? Is that a grenade launcher?
Rocket launcher.
A rocket launcher, right?
Yeah.
And it does like nothing to the boss I saw. And that's one of the reasons I use sleeper is because it actually does something to the boss. So I don't know if they need to like buff the damage or do something to it to make it at least a little bit more damage to the boss or something.
I can say, Angel, that if you get a rocket launcher with cluster bombs, whoa, they're really powerful right now, especially against Riven, from what I'm hearing.
Oh,
you are killing Riven like in 5 minutes. Like
the cluster bombs are doing a lot of damage to Riven, and I'm not sure if it's intended.
No, it's not. They're gonna push it. They're gonna patch that.
Yeah.
It's if you have like a team for like 580 to 590 Guardians or higher, you will kill Riven in like seconds, melt her. It's crazy. It's getting to a point where now it's like if you go on LFG, they're calling it cheese. If you go on LFG, everyone's saying, looking for Guardians, Riven cheese. And if you say I don't want to do it, they're not gonna raid with you.
It seems like there's a lot of circumstances too. You got to have banner shield and then the hunter damage buff. It's actually a lot of work to set up, but I mean, it's pretty nuts.
Thank you everybody on chat, but I think my volume should be fine right about now. Just tell me what you think, and sorry for interrupting the podcast around this.
That's all right. How dare you?
How dare you, Contra?
Yeah, geez, get your act together, dude. Like, we don't pull any punches here, man.
So I'm tired of being killed by the bow and arrow though. That the exotic one that shoots 3 and kills you right away.
The Trinity Ghoul, yeah. You know what the thing is? I find it interesting you're seeing it a lot because it seems like most people right now have 1, maybe 2 Forsaken exotics. For the average gamer, right? The average person playing. I mean, there's a few outliers that have 5 or 6 already, but the most part, the RNG on them is so low that like I only have 1, and I've put in quite a few.
I only have 1.
And it's funny enough, it's the Trinity Ghoul. But I'm also not seeing bows as much as I thought I would in the Crucible. What's y'all's experience?
Bows are getting higher and higher. They're not really used, but I'm bringing it to a few people who are using them.
I see it on like a medium average, like I see it every once in a while, but at the same time, it probably seems that way because it's a freaking bow, it's not a gun. All the other weapons you're using are guns, or once in a while you'll get a sword.
I have seen people. I think, and I hope they're just trying it out because
I think that's just
But I've seen a couple people use the Wish Under bow, which is not that good. But
there's a bug with that. They're fixing it, so it's probably gonna. There's a bug with Wish Under that it does. So the weapon does enter and exit damage, but the exit damage is bugged right now where it won't register the exit damage on a fast moving target. So if you are running fast in the Crucible, that it just doesn't register the way it's supposed to. So they know about it. They're actively working on it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the Wish Under and Malfeasance both very underwhelming exotics right now. But
I think Malfeasance isn't bugged to my knowledge. I think
no,
they
it's
just
not.
need
It's
to
not bugged.
they just need to buff it, man.
It's just
It's a
underwhelming.
beautiful weapon. I love
Oh,
that gun. I like what it does. I just want the visual effects back to the way they had it, and I want it to be viable. You know.
Speaking of effects, I do love the Black Talon. Not only because it's the only exotic I have on Forsaken, but because that thing just destroys enemies.
Yo, I saw a clip on Twitter of a guy basically saying like poor man's Dawnblade, and he was smoking people.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, and it's long range. You can snipe people.
Oh
with
yeah,
that thing,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a heavy. I was playing Gambit, and then this guy came into our our part of the world, and I just threw a disc at him, and he died. And I was like, my God, this is the best exotic
it's
I've
one
ever
shot,
had.
yeah. Angel, you have that one, don't you?
Yeah, that was my first and only exotic
Yeah.
I have for
I'm jealous. I really want that sword,
I
man.
haven't gotten it.
I got it like the first day, within like a couple hours, I think too.
Y'all got any more of them Forsaken exotics? Yeah.
The drop rate. What do you guys think about the drop rate of exotics right now? How do you guys?
I don't want to change it.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I am
same.
happy.
Don't change.
Like I like, because you know what? When I got Trinity Ghoul, it was the first time since Destiny 1 that I was playing I was replaying the story mission, the opening Prison Break mission with my buddy, because I was running his character through with him, and I was just helping him. And I was just popping ads, and then boom, bloop, little glowy orb, you know. I pick it up, and it's Trinity Ghoul, and I'm like, holy shit. I was just like,
they drop from
I was
anything now.
I was like, are you? And my buddy, he's like, my buddy's on the headset, and he's like, geez, what are you yelling about? Like, I got the Trinity Ghoul, blah, blah, blah. Watch this. I'm just like lightning and fools all over the map. It was great. Yeah.
So
I want that to stay there. I want an exotic to feel like, whoa, you know.
So how do you feel about this comment? If an exotic needs to be rare to drop to feel like an exotic, then would that exotic feel like a fate? Like if exotic drop needs to be rare, then are they really exotic weapons? Like, do you really feel like they're like they need to be exotic? Then I mean, like,
No, yeah, I do. I think yes. I think exotic should be rare. I've never supported having a character like Zur, at least in the way he was implemented. I don't think you should be able to just go and buy a freaking exotic. It doesn't make it special, in my opinion. When you kill that raid boss that you spent 12 hours on or 6 hours on or whatever, and you finally, and maybe your whole team beat it 6 times in a row and still nobody got it, but then the next time, that 12th time that you ran it, it took 6 hours, and you finally get it, what is your reaction going to be to that versus if you bought it from Zur?
dude,
And it's going to be the same for anybody.
When I got that 1,000 voices,
if I finally earn that exotic, now look, the answer to this rebuttal, because I know there's people that won't agree with me, and that's okay. The answer to that is that's what quest exotics are for. But then I know the rebuttal to that is like, yeah, but the 1,000 voices isn't a quest exotic that I can just get. Well, yeah, not everything. I'm a very big believer in there's certain things that are okay to be questified, and then there's certain things that should be that rare. I believe that, and then the other part of that is to the point of if it feels exotic or not. Well, that's on like the sandbox and how it feels and how it plays, right? Yeah. Like the Graviton Lance could be my favorite weapon, but if it's complete trash like it was in year 1 of D2, then it really doesn't feel exotic, does it? You know what I mean? Like, so there's that too. But my opinion is, as far as the ones that they picked to be RNG based, I don't want it to change.
Tonight, hashtag for everybody else is going to be hashtag Questified, courtesy of the Helmet Fire.
Yeah. Well, they're absolutely, look, you can't lock everything behind. It doesn't make a great experience, okay? Mm-hmm. And then, and honestly, I think the RNG aspect of the exotics that they have in that pool right now are a good supplement, because you're going to get all the quest ones. And then when you finally get that other one that you didn't get from a quest, like I said, when you finally get that drop, I don't believe for a second that there's not one player that would be like, holy crap, the Trinity Ghoul dropped. Are you kidding me? This is awesome. I mean, but that's also a tribute to the sandbox and what it is right now, right? in year one of D2, that probably wouldn't have been the case. Sorry, go ahead, Contra.
So, does anybody remember the reaction videos on YouTube when people got Gallahorn?
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's the best
Oh my god!
It's the best feeling.
Kids, I can do the Crota right now. I have Gallahorn.
Yeah, and their friends are like, "What? I got the Gallahorn."
I can finally do LFG. Yay!
Mom,
Mom, get the camera. Camera, Mom. Camera.
Meanwhile, me, true story, I buy the game, I play the game, I go to the Crucible, and I get the Gallahorn, and I'm like, okay.
I got two of them. It's funny.
But I got
it was like very early on too.
I got so many
one
messages
time.
after it dropped in the Crucible. People just send
all the
me,
salt.
yeah, you lucky MF,
You
you
son of a
USO,
bitch.
yeah, you son of a bitch. Everybody just sent me messages that day. And I'm like, what did I just get? And then I go to YouTube.
Blocked, unfriended. Yeah.
And I'm seeing all these reaction videos, and I'm like, oh, this must be good.
Yeah.
Funny story.
I remember when they sold Gallahorn in Vanilla D1 week 2, and almost nobody bought it.
Yep.
I didn't buy it.
I didn't. I was
Exotic
like,
and heavy
okay.
slot? Nah.
Who's this?
I won't lie, that weapon, and I didn't know about it either. Nobody did.
No
It
one
was
did.
week 2.
Yeah.
The game had been out for 2 weeks, and it was the third week the game was out. I'll never forget this because it's the one time that RNGesus has ever smiled upon me. But seriously, the third week in Vanilla D1 when it was out, the Gallahorn dropped for me off of killing an ad. I'm not kidding. But I didn't even know what I had. I almost deleted it. I had it in my inventory for months before everyone knew what it was.
RNGesus.
So, sorry, jeez.
Yeah, RNGesus
So,
was good, and I didn't even know it. I
I,
was oblivious.
I got my first one, Crucible. I joined they put me in the game very last second. It was like the score was like 4 kills away from being over. I was like, so I just walked around the map. I was like, so I'm still in the game. Let me just explore the map for a little bit. And then Gallahorn, I was like, oh, what the hell? It's going in my vault.
What's a Gallahorn?
What the hell is
What's a
Jellyhorn?
How do you
I
even
don't
say that?
So
Well, that's how it worked for a while too. If
went
you
in my
did
vault.
bad in Crucible, that's how you got
Yes.
Gallahorn.
performance-based
Yeah.
rewards.
Oh, y'all remember
That's how
charging
it
up the Vaulted Glass chest with the Gallahorn to get extra rewards? There were so many trolls.
Yes, it was great, dude. It was great. And the second one I joined Rocket McDickface Strike, the Valstar.
Great name.
Yeah. At the very last second, I shot
Remind me,
one
remind, me
rocket.
to, remind me to bleep it next time.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, well, no, we all know what Strike is.
Before we get out of here, what else was going on this week that's of significance? We had the full Dreaming City reset, so we're on week 1 of the corruption again. For all those individual story missions that you can do in the Dreaming City each per week, there is a taken special boss that you can find in each mission and kill for extra lore. So make sure to look out for him. It's called the Odinum or something.
Something like that, yeah.
In this
week,
first
he's-
mission
he's-
this week,
he's
he's
a
under the
bridge.
bridge. He's like it's like a bridge troll. I think you get a little medal or something for killing him.
Yeah.
So, and now that I'm a little bit higher light, I didn't get freaking smacked around, so I got his ass.
I haven't gotten it yet, but I will.
But what else is going on?
Well,
this
the
week?
last thing on the calendar was Sony finally allowed crossplay for Fortnite.
Yes, I'm glad you brought this up. Yes, let's talk about it, please. You go.
So for the longest time, there's been some market pressure to allow crossplay from Fortnite onto PlayStation. As you know, Fortnite has done crossplay for all the other platforms: Nintendo, Xbox, PC, mobile. Hell, I was in the living room with my son, and I was on my phone, and he was on the Xbox. So that's the kind of cool thing that crossplay is, except for PlayStation. But according to the news, market pressure, and now they caved in. And so this has opened the door for publishers like Bungie and others to, maybe have this option. What do you guys think?
I want everybody's opinion on this. I'll go last.
I think it's great. It's awesome. I loved it, and I read an article where they people are guessing it's a long way from now, but if they're guessing that maybe Overwatch and Destiny 2 might be crossplay in the future, or the franchise might be crossplay in the future. Now, when they say that, I'm thinking crossplay PlayStation and PC only. I don't think Xbox, but regardless, it's a step in the right direction. I love it.
So, in the crossplay, I mean, I'm kind of upset about it that they did it now because, or they're going to do it in the future, I guess. Because one, I bought all the DLCs on both consoles
Ooh, that's a good point.
for
Yeah.
both games, except for Forsaken on PS4, which I'm glad I didn't do if they do this crossplay thing, because then that's
It's still a long way from that. I don't think they're gonna do that
like
now.
a
anytime
lot
soon.
of money put away.
Yeah.
But I will be glad because I do have like a lot of friends on both consoles and even like PCs. So if we get like PC crossplay and stuff like that, I do have a bunch of friends on there,
Right.
and
Play with you guys
it's
now.
just yeah, finally. But yeah, I could just play with all these characters and just have all my stuff across all things and just.
Now you're
play
talking about
it
cross
way.
save, Angel. That's a different thing entirely than
Well-
cross platform.
Same thing.
So what? Yeah, it would ideally be good to have cross save
Which
because then
might
you can fire up
eventually
any
happen
system
also.
and load your character onto it. Versus cross play is just I'm on my PlayStation playing with players online that are playing on a different machine.
Yeah,
Cross save's a different animal, and but I'll do mine at the end. Sorry.
Well, this is the end, so go for it.
Well, you
Good to go.
didn't give your piece
Oh,
yet. I don't think.
well, no, I think it's market pressure. I mean, the only reason why systems are caving into this, even Apple, it was in the news that Epic Games was the first game to actually move across Apple's payment system. So now you can buy on their site and get the benefits on the phone and completely skip the 40 or 60% commission. I'm not sure which one it is. It's one of those two. The 40-60 split, I think, on apps and purchases like that for games. I may be mistaken on those figures, so don't quote me. But there is a big chunk of change that goes to Apple and people when you buy through their app stores. Now, it's such a big game that this is happening. So it opens the doors for other games. I mean, strategically and in terms of function, what is a game? A game is a database. What is a database? It's hosted on a site. What does a game do? Connect to a database and retrieve your items. So there is no technical difficulty on the publisher side to at least take that data and convert it into a system that with an API that's fully accessible. Hell, you can move your weapons around with your phone or your browser. I mean, all those things already exist in terms of that type of access. So what is the difference between that and crossplay? I understand that developers still need to make money, and so you'll possibly see crossplay, but not like you said.
Cross-save.
Well, not exactly cross save, but more of access. So if you want to play Forsaken full version on PlayStation, you need to buy the disc or get the game, right? So you'll need to have two separate game copies at least. So you still need to buy all the DLCs for both consoles. Now that would be the big gain for consoles and publishers because they need to sell on both. But in terms of data is portable. So I don't see any hindrance between crossplay and standing up on the phone and going to the computer and then standing on the computer and going to the PlayStation and then going upstairs to my Xbox and then using the Xbox all to play the same game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult because like you said, when it comes to developers and then Xbox and Sony, Microsoft and Sony needing to make money on their hardware as well and bringing titles to their platforms, it will also bring console sales as well. Same thing for PC. I mean, PC is a little bit more broad in terms of where you can get one and how you can get it and make it and all that, but I'm sure there's a huge hurdle to get over with that. But when it comes to Destiny and crossplay or even cross save, I think can it be done? Absolutely. Will they do it is another question entirely. Can the game do it? I heard an interesting thing the other day is with Fortnite and Epic Games, Fortnite built the ability to do crossplay into the platform in their game before like it came out, and Sony shut it down. So
Mhm.
really, all they got to do is, metaphorically speaking, flip a switch to reactivate the cross play function, cross platform play function. So we don't know if a game like Destiny with all the spaghetti code can support that in its code. We don't know the answer to that, right? I'm not a game developer. I have no idea. But if it can, then you get into the realm of, well, will they do it? Because if you do cross play, meaning I'm on PlayStation and I play online with people that are playing from an Xbox or a PC all together at the same time, what does that mean for their revenue stream? What does that impact? Is that, and then which way do they go with that? Now, if I do cross save, where I can go on any system I own and just log into my account and it populates my character and everything I've earned onto that machine at any time, what happens when you do that? For the player, of course, all these things are very player consumer friendly, right? It's something we all want. I just don't know if it'll happen. And then the one big wrench I think gets thrown into this is that Bungie has an exclusivity deal with Sony. So if they enabled these functions, that, what does that mean? If I'm on PlayStation and then I'm in the matchmaking queue for Crucible and there's Xbox and PC players in the queue, are they just going to gray out the PlayStation exclusive Crucible map out of the RNG pool for matchmaking? Like,
Simple.
They're going to have to implement some technology to be able to accommodate that, so that the people that aren't on PlayStation aren't accessing content that they didn't buy into with the exclusivity, right? So that's also a really interesting dynamic to consider, I think. So,
And here's how you fix that. Like, I know in Fortnite, there's different servers. So like on Fortnite, if you're on PC, right, you'll stay in just a PC server. If you're on Xbox, you stay on an Xbox server. But let's say if you have a buddy, hey, I'm on PC, you're on PlayStation, let's group up, let's squad up. Boom! Now you get into a server where you have everybody in there. You have PC, blah blah. Blah. So then from in that server, you just exclude the Sony stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So you think they should segregate the servers? So this is a PlayStation server, basically.
PlayStation server, Xbox
for the
server,
people that
PC
for the
server.
people that want to play on that console.
Yes, which they have right now, right?
Well, how do they implement that with the console players though? You can switch servers on PC, but you can't do that on console.
No, you switch servers. No, I'm talking about like Fortnite has a PC server only, and then PlayStation server and Xbox server. The moment you group up or swap with like people who are across a different platform, you get put into a cross play server.
Oh, I see.
So,
well, that's okay. So Bungie would have to do the same thing. They would have to create servers that would accommodate all the players, and then deactivate the exclusive content in that server. So in other words, if you show up in the server, and in a game like Destiny, that's interesting because it's like if I'm holding on to the Wave Splitter exotic trace rifle, which is PF exclusive, does my weapon become grayed out and I just have to move it manually? How do they
see that's the tricky part. That's that part.
Right. That's the discussion, right? It's like, how would they do it?
Because like in Fortnite, there's no weapon or there's no like a console or PC based weapon that's only for that platform. That's a tough one because like on, for example, Fortnite, Samsung has a skin. It's a Samsung only. You
have to like play on the Samsung device.
Yeah.
And then it transfers to your account once you did that or something.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you're on your Samsung, then you'll see that in the lobby. Like, oh, okay, so as a guy who's playing has a Samsung, but like that's only a skin. That's not really game changing.
I just think there would be so much more involved with Destiny because the exclusive content spreads over strikes, Crucible maps, armor sets, weapons, a ship, Sparrow. Sometimes, I mean, there's a handful of things that it spreads across the content that they have to dip in and write code for, I'm sure, to accommodate that. But okay, so we could debate all day about like, can it be done? Are they thinking about doing it? But what do we, the consumer, want? Like, if yes or no, is it something y'all would want? I know I would say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on, do it.
Do it. That's a no-brainer. Yes, I want to play with you guys. Shoot.
Right. And a lot of people might say it's anti-consumer to do it any other way than that because, right, we're the player we want, we paid for it. we should get the things, you know, and I'm kind of with you on that. But at the same time, you know, it's huge corporations, you know, it's Activision, it's Sony, it's Nintendo, it's Microsoft, you know, and throwing them all into a playpen to play nice is it's expensive.
So I can totally understand a board meeting at Sony headquarters and people saying, why do you want to send them over to crossplay? Because then people just buy PCs, and then we're gonna send a lot of people to PCs, and look at it, all the big gamers have quit playing Fortnite on their consoles and now they're buying PCs. And the reality is that once you buy a PC, yes, you do play on it, but you still have the console and you still play games on the console. You know
what? Because I have a sales and marketing brain, and I'm glad our show isn't that big, because this is an idea I think great if I were Microsoft or Sony.
Okay, we're ending the show. If you want to hear more about this great idea.
I could understand if they said, what if, you know, and it's such a shit move if they did it, but what if they came out and said, okay, to compensate for our potential lost revenue, to enable crossplay, because we want to make our fans happy, but it's going to cost you $5 a month. I mean, think about that. We will let everyone play with everybody, but each company gets or there's some subscription to do it, to make. I can do it, but I have to opt in and pay more money because they have to account for their lost revenue, right? Because they're going to lose revenue if they do it. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
They absolutely will. It's not. That's why I say, you know, we talk about anti-consumerism and all this stuff. It's like, well, they're a business. They got to make money too. So they're going to find a way, even if it's not that, what I just mentioned, they're going to find a way to make that money back if they enable it. They're not stupid. They're not going to do anything without making sure the dollars are flowing, right? So I could just see that being a thing. You know, it's like Eververse. It's like, you know, Eververse is in a way better spot now, but, you know, but cross save, cross play, I think they should do it. I just hope they find a way to make it work and not charge us for it, please. Thank you.
All right. Last comments or words before we actually do end the stream.
I don't know, man. I gotta go. I gotta play Forsaken, man. Hurry up, guys. Come on. Why are we here? Let's play.
I will add one thing. The Festival of the Lost is coming up soon. We should be hearing something shortly from Bungie on that within the next week or so, I'm sure. And like I said, guys, potential return of Thunderlords. So go ahead, Jay.
I have one more thing. You mentioned for the Festival of the Lost, there was this, you know, that Cade emblem that's with a statue that you buy from GameStop. The description for the statue says model after something in the game.
Like there's supposed to be a statue in the game, right? I did see.
Yes. People are thinking it might come with Festival of Lost. I don't know. That'd be cool. Just throwing that out there.
I bet they do it during the Dawning.
Yeah, Dawning's good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
What do y'all think? Cade statue. We need it. We
I mean, we have stuff. We have stuff.
You know my answer to that.
Oh yeah, I know.
She wants Cade back and alive, but that's not happening. Sorry.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Well,
So maybe in
anything
Destiny
else?
3, when they rebuild the tower, we move again up there, maybe there'll be a statue in the courtyard of, you know.
That would be pretty badass, dude. I'm not gonna lie. That would be pretty epic.
1K statue. Do it, Bungie. He
All
deserves it.
All right, there we go. And that's going to be our closing hashtag is going to be Kate6 statue.
All right, everybody.
K6 statue.
All right. Well, thanks to the chat for sticking around and putting in your questions and everything. Thanks again to our guest that we had on, Mr. Richard Sloniker, for coming on the show. That was really awesome of him to take his time and share it with us. Angel, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch at AngelZ3RO and Twitter and Instagram at Angel_Z3RO.
Mr. Contrabang?
Right here, every Wednesday, 9:30 sharp. Be here or be square or die, I don't know, in an alley.
I could be a square.
I'll be there.
I'll be a rectangle.
CrayZJaye, where can people find you?
You can find me here on Twitch at CrayZJaye. No, stop.
I didn't do it, dude. I let it go.
Stop. It's actually,
Come on, chat. You got to type it.
No. Don't Mr. Jamie. Don't do it.
Yeah.
CrayZJaye, CrayZJaye. On
Puddin.
Twitter. No, stop, please.
Hey, someone out there create like a parody Twitter account. It's like Mr. J and put Jay's picture on it. Calling Puddin.
Oh, my
Anyway.
God.
My name is The Helmet Fire. You can find me on Twitter at The Helmet Fire. You can also find me on YouTube, which, by the way, a lot of the folks in the chat probably already know this, but if you're listening or interested, myself, Erik Digital, who isn't here, he's on a leave of sorts, Angel Zero here, and then some personal friends of mine all together worked on a machinima. It is 35 minutes long, and it is a cross between Destiny and Star Wars. It is called The Last Blade Dancer. If you just go on YouTube and search The Last Blade Dancer or The Helmet Fire, you will see it pop up. Give it a watch. It's on the Bungie Creations page right now. We are shooting, hopefully, to get Movie of the Week, which we should find out tomorrow on Thursday in the TWAB. We would really appreciate you taking a look at that. We all worked really hard on it, and we had a ton of fun. So, yeah, definitely check that out if you get a chance. And for all things on Travelers Podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at TravelersPC. You can catch the live streams on twitch.tv/Travelers Podcast on Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, give or take a few minutes for tech issues. That's pretty typical. And I think that's it, guys. Yeah, is that it? Is that everything?
That is
Did
everything.
I miss anything?
Did you get Angels? Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Yeah, Angel. Yeah. Ladies first,
Oh.
of course.
Okay,
Yep.
Puddin.
But
Oh,
hey, calm down, Puddin. All right.
All right, guys. You have a good night, everybody. The stream
See
is
you all
about
next
to be
time.
gone.
Yeet.